Hi everyone, I'm Gena Philibert-Ortega for Genealogy Bank. Government records are an important tool for family historians, and most likely you're already using the U.S. Census, and there's a good reason why. It helps us to fill in our family trees. But how do you get to know your ancestor better as a real person who had hardships and triumphs? How do you tell their story? Well, you already know that Genealogy Bank has a great historical newspaper archive, but they also have the U.S. Census. And together you can take these two record sets and tell the story of your ancestor's life by filling in the gaps between census years. So let me show you how to do that. We're going to use an example of the James Ayers family from New York. So let's go over to the Genealogy Bank website. Now I'm on the Genealogy Bank website, and what I want to first do is search for this family in the U.S. Census. Now, I can do that in one of two ways. I can go ahead and do it from this homepage search engine, but I can also go up to Collections and specifically choose the U.S. Census. Now, in that search engine, I'm going to go ahead and enter James Ayers, and I'm going to say that he lived in New York. So I'll specify that. And I want to look at the 1850 census for this family. So here is this family in our results list. So we'll go ahead and click on that. And what you'll find first is a transcription of what's found in the census. But I want to go ahead and look at the actual image. And so I'm going to click on View Image. And here it is. This is the 1850 U.S. Census for Greenburgh, Westchester County in New York. And if we scroll down, we find James Ayers, his wife Anne, and his three children, James H., Sarah, and Frederica. Now, you might, if you look very closely, find something about these three kids. Do you notice that there is a large year gap between Sarah and Frederica? Sarah's 6, Frederica is 1. So that might make us wonder what happened in between that gap. Why is there so many years between children? And there's quite a few different reasons that can happen, but sometimes that gap can tell a very important story about our ancestors' lives. So to try to discover more about that, I want to go ahead and go back to the historical newspaper collection. So I'm going to go back to the website's homepage, and because I know what newspaper served their community, I want to just search on that title by itself. So I'll go to Browse and Newspapers by Title. And that was the Hudson River Chronicle. So I'm just going to put Hudson River and search. And there it is. Now, in this case, I'm just going to put in their surname and search. Now, obviously, I can focus that search and add, the parents' names, or I could add an age range, but I'm just going to, a date range, I'm just going to do this. Now I'm going to sort by newest publication date. Now, after some research in the newspapers, I find something that points to the reason why there is that gap in between the two children. And here it is. A little digging in the Genealogy Bank's historical newspapers archive turns up the answer to our question. And here it is on December 12th, 1848, and you can see the title says died. And if we scroll down, it says that Lovina, the youngest daughter of James and Anne Ayers, aged 2 years old, 4 months and 20 days, died. Now, you not only get that obituary, but you also get the very sad verse underneath there that really demonstrate what the family must have been going through to lose such a small child. It says, "The anguished heart can ne'er forget that last loved heavenly smile, which round her lips so sweetly played, while sinking 'neath the stroke of death, her spirit seemed in converse sweet with angels from the mercy seat." So we go from the census, we find an obituary and this verse that the family inserted, and suddenly that personal connection is made, and we can feel the heir's sorrow at the loss of this small child. Death was something that people in 1850 were all too familiar with. Life expectancy was only about 39 years, and about 22 out of 100 infants died. When we looked at the heir's family in 1850, we noticed that gap between two of their children, and we weren't sure why, but it was because of historical newspaper research that we soon learned the reason why there was that gap, and that a child had died in between. Lucky for us, Genealogy Bank has both the historical newspaper collection and the census, so we can take what we learn in the census and fill in those gaps between census years. Good luck with your research, and I'll see you again soon.